Kia ora koutou and hello everybody. I am Helen Davidson, the Chief Executive at the Association of Consulting and Engineering in New Zealand and the current Chair of FIDIC's Directors and Secretaries Advisory Council. And today I'm really excited to be moderating this webinar showcasing FIDIC member associations. The Advisory Council is delighted to host this webinar each year, highlighting the amazing work FIDIC's global member associations do and the difference this makes to our member firms and to the industry locally and globally. Our members are literally engineering the world around us, designing and delivering critical technology, infrastructure, environmental solutions, and more to ensure that the communities we live in are resilient, thriving, and sustainable for today and for generations to come. And as member associations, we play a critical role in ensuring our member firms' successes by providing a voice for them to decision makers on the issues that matter the most, supporting and uplifting them to have successful businesses and promoting consulting excellence. Today's webinar leans into our work as associations to provide effective advocacy on behalf of our members by showcasing initiatives that have been employed by 3 member associations to help enhance their influence through lobbying and representational activities. Successful advocacy is hard won. It's about cultivating strong and influential relationships with decision makers over time. It's having something credible to say, using data and evidence to persuade, and it's balancing being responsive to the environment of the day as well as being proactive to guide decision makers to where they need to be. So understanding what levers to use, when, and for what impact can be a really delicate balance. I'm delighted to welcome 3 amazing association executives to our webinar today to share how they have led impactful advocacy in their countries. So first we have Liv Hansteen, the CEO of the Norwegian Association of Consulting Engineers, otherwise known as RIF, who will be talking about RIF's engagement with ministers and parliament and sector-based lobbying and dialogue with clients. Liv will put a particular spotlight on how RIF influences national policy, improves collaboration and procurement practices, and positions the consulting sector as a forward-looking industry. Secondly, we have Martine Proulx, the Vice President of the Canadian Association of Consulting Engineering Companies, who will be talking to us about Invest in Growth, a high-impact digital campaign by ACEC Canada that elevated infrastructure as a national priority during Canada's 2025 federal election. Now, you might remember that was a snap election. So ACEC Canada moved really quickly to empower citizens and their members to engage with political candidates using targeted tools and messaging. And finally, we have Rajiv Maini, the Director of the Consulting Engineers Association of India, who will be talking to us about a campaign the association created to showcase the spectacular engineering accomplishments made in India since it gained its independence nearly 8 decades ago. And he'll be highlighting how this work highlighted to the public and decision makers the critical value of the work that their members do. So we hope by sharing these examples with you all, if you're an association executive, you will be inspired in your advocacy work to support your members and you'll get some new ideas. And if you're joining us today as a member of one of your local member associations or part of the wider FIDIC community, we hope that these examples help provide you with insights into the hard work your associations do to uplift the sector and be heard at the highest levels of government. So for today's format, I'll introduce each speaker who will talk for around 8 minutes about their initiative. We'll go through all 3 speakers and then we will open the floor to questions. You can share your questions through the chat box, which is at the bottom of your screen, and I will pick these up and work through them after all 3 speakers have had their turn at presenting. So don't be shy with your questions. We have the privilege of 3 experts here today, and we want to encourage you to take time and learn the most from them that you can. So starting off, let me please pass you on to Liv. Welcome, Liv. Over to you.
Thank you, Helen. Yes, I will talk about how we work in Norway. So mostly it is through dialogues. We have over 200 dialogues, either with the political party, with the clients, with the university and other association. And I will dig into 3 areas: how we work with the parliament, number 1, how we work with influence members, clients, and then the third one, how we influence actually to get our industry position even better when it comes to AI in a way to recruit people to our industry. So first of all, I will go into how we work with the parliament, and I will just show you what we call the ABC on influence and how we work with that. Of course, it's very important to know that define what you actually want to achieve. That is the number 1. And then you need to have facts, and you need to show the consequences of what you wanted to achieve if the politician or the parliament doesn't do what you want, and not the consequences of what will happen to the industry, but actually the consequences for society. And then you have to understand how your decision-making system are built and make good relationships and make trust with those politicians. And then it's timing. Timing is always important, and also the arena of where you do, how you do it, and when. And then I think the last one is to mobilize allies, because you cannot always win the race by yourself. You need also other ones to participate. So next one, what we want to achieve. And usually it is to make a bigger cake for the industry. That is the easy one. But it is also, next one, we want more investment. Usually it is because we work in very many different fields, from buildings to infrastructure to energy. We all want them to do more investments. Next. So we think it's what we see, that when we talk to the parliament, you need facts. And if you don't have facts, you have to produce them. We produced just now in June a new report on the state of the nation of Norway. Next one. And we actually scored the different areas on how they were doing, more if it was a good score or it's a bad score. So if you're down to 2, you can see railways is down to 2, and it has a bad score. And that is the engineering view on the infrastructure. And then what we wanted them to understand, the decision maker, is that it's not one who screams the highest that need the money, but actually the ones that are in a bad shape. Next. So, but one thing is that us engineers, they're showing them that the roads are in a bad shape, but we need also to show them the consequences of that. The train is not on time, that you actually miss maybe your work day, or you cannot go to school because something happened with the roads. So actually showing the consequences of society is quite important, because then you can feel it in your heart and you can actually relate to the consequences, because usually technical description can be very hard for non-engineering to understand. We are, of course, many different nations, so every parliament is different. Norwegian parliament it's quite nice because it's very transparent, and actually the building itself has open windows just to show that it is a transparent one, and it's also very friendly environment, so that's easy to get to know people. But at the same time, we see that many of our industry leader, and also me when I started in this industry, we were very afraid to go to politicians, but actually politicians want advice, they need knowledge, so try to find a way to go in there and don't be afraid to approach them. Make sure that at every hearing, formal hearing, your voice is heard. You have to prepare for that, but also make sure that you are invite yourself to informal meetings. So when we made this report, we actually met all the parties in advance, and we asked them, What keep you up during night? What do you think about? What do you need from this expert engineer to find out for you? And most of them said, well, we have just this amount of money, and we have this huge backlog on roads and railroads and so on. So help us finding smart solutions on how to do it, give at least more for less. And then it's important to build a relationship. I hear with a TV interview, and we were having a debate, and actually making them call you and not you call them is very important. Just be friendly and give them as much as knowledge as you can, and then let them fight, and you be the fact maker. So you just show the facts, and they can discuss this, what kind of solution, the different ways of politics. So here we have one from the Conservative Party and one from the Labour Party, very arguing on different approaches, but at least I'm in the middle, and we have the facts. And of course, you have to be in media to get through. That's important. So every time the media asks you to be there, or you can sell yourself into the media to say that you have a showcase that you want to explore, it's very important. So when we launched the report, we were just out there this is from winter time, but we have also now a lot of discussion in the media with our report. The last thing I would say is mobile allies. This is just a showcase from the article from our doctor magazine, or the Association for all the doctors in Norway. And they are really struggling with the hospital because they're not up to date, some of them. And so actually they use our report to get more funding for the hospital. So it's not only we who says it, but also the user of the building, or the user of the roads, or the user. We also talk to parents, the parents when they come to school. So it is not only our voice that is heard. Now I will go into how we work on members with the clients. We define who we want to influence. Usually there are the big clients. And since we only are 6 people in RIF, we have organized this as meetings with or committees with different committees. Can you see the next ones? Next. So here we have, go back a little bit. So here we have all the market forums that we have, all the firms. A lot of people from the firms to actually decide what would we need to talk about with the clients, what is the challenge, what to do well next. And then we define what we want to achieve. Maybe it's we need more dialogue before the procurement. Maybe it's trouble with the quality, that they weight in price more than quality when they're in the procurement. Or there could be other things. But the thing is, when we go to the next one, is that remember also the why. Because we cannot talk to them as to say that this is the best for the industry, but always argue from the client's perspective. Why are they need to actually prior quality instead of price? It has to be from their perspective. What will they gain by that? So now I will go to the last one. I just have a couple of minutes now, and how we influence the industry position when it comes to AI. And that's, if you take the next one, we started out that we realized our industry is actually looked at a little bit old, that this the software people who are the cool ones who use AI, and actually we use AI in our industry. So we got a lot of people who really work in high end of AI, and they started to share their experience. And then we went together and we worked out some showcases. with a gang. We made the clients to talk to them. We met up with startups to show what we're doing and also collaborated with them because we don't have to do everything ourselves. And I can just show you some showcases. We have on our website both generative AI and analytic AI, a sample bank on, so you can go there for free and just explore which one you want to see. If it's analytic AI or it's generative AI, next one. And also we have, next one, started to collaborate with what we call Digital Norway with competence programs. That's free for all members, but also other ones can look into it. And if you use Google Translate, you can have it also in English. And then we make courses. So that is what we learn from AI, from our AI experience, that when we share knowledge, people want to collaborate with it, the client wants to see what we're doing, the contractor is interesting, and also the students. So we use a lot of things on LinkedIn to actually make them want to come to our industry instead of other industry. Thank you.
Thank you, Liv. What a great presentation, and some real gems in there. And things that I picked up was the point that we can't, or perhaps shouldn't try to do everything ourselves. We need to mobilize our allies, mobilize our volunteers, and that adds to the strength of our voice. And I know that Rajiv is going to pick up a little bit on that in his example too. Thank you so much for sharing that, and I will hand now over to Martine.
Thank you so much, Helen. Bonjour, good morning. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge that I'm joining you today from the traditional unceded territory of the Algonquin Anishinaabe people. For thousands of years, they have been stewards of this land, which we now call Ottawa. We honor their longstanding relationship with the land and recognize their ongoing contributions to our communities. I invite all participants, wherever you are joining from today, to reflect on the Indigenous peoples whose lands you are on. ACEC Canada was invited to speak today on our Invest in Growth campaign. I'll provide details on the campaign's goals, elements, and results, and welcome the opportunity to answer your questions during the Q&A portion of today's session. Invest in Growth is a bilingual, multi-platform national advocacy campaign that was designed to elevate infrastructure as a top policy priority during the 2025 Canadian federal election, which took place from March 23rd to April 28th. The campaign aimed first and foremost to showcase the importance of infrastructure to people's daily lives and to Canada's national fabric, and successfully position our member firms as a central pillar of prosperity, community development, and climate resilience. We wanted to elevate infrastructure as a key federal election issue and influence national policy through nonpartisan advocacy. The campaign also aimed to reframe consulting engineers not only as experts, but as public leaders and problem solvers whose work underpins everyday life. Finally, we wanted to engage and empower both member firms and the public to engage with political candidates. At the heart of the campaign was investingrowth.ca, a French and English website that featured the key policy recommendations we've been promoting as part of our advocacy efforts over the past 4 years. These recommendations were the need for long-term infrastructure strategy by the federal government, renewed federal infrastructure funding, reform of public procurement of professional services, and the importance of a national infrastructure corridor. Central to the website was the Your Voice Matters tool, a digital messaging platform that allowed users to send an electronic personalized message to the candidates running in their electoral district with a simple click. This tool was well received by member firms and allowed them to share their concerns directly with political candidates. Another important element of the campaign was the use of social media to amplify our message and drive viewers to the website. We created informative campaign videos that featured ACEC's leadership, speaking authentically about the industry's role in shaping Canada's future. The long-form videos were posted to the website and to our YouTube channel. From these videos, digital ads were created, as well as other visual assets with key messaging, and posted across Meta, LinkedIn, and Google. To maximize the ad's impacts, performance was monitored and optimized on a daily basis. Messaging was tweaked to align with what was resonating in the social media ecosystem and the direction of the election campaign itself. The campaign reflects ACEC's longstanding approach of being a proactive, solutions-oriented policy voice. It built on our reputation for nonpartisan, credible engagement with government stakeholders and was informed by past advocacy experience, allowing for rapid deployment. The campaign helped reinforce ACEC's role as a trusted partner, not only in advocacy, but in building a positive narrative about the industry. This internal alignment and external credibility solidified our position as a strategic asset to our members and the broader engineering sector. Member firms recognized their voice in the campaign's content and values. Many shared the materials with their clients, employees, and broader communities. They actively engaged with posts on social media, liking and sharing our content. The Invest in Growth campaign was a collaborative effort initiated by ACEC's internal staff team with strong direction and hands-on support from our board of directors. All campaign content was developed and delivered in both English and French to reflect Canada's official bilingualism, promote inclusivity for the two official language groups in Canada, and to improve reach to members, the public, and candidates in key regions. Despite its broad reach and professional quality, the Invest in Growth campaign was highly cost-effective and strategic in its deployment. With a digital advertising spend of $15,000 Canadian, the campaign achieved 2.2 million digital impressions, 10,000 website views, and close to 8,000 user actions or click-throughs in the 34 days of the campaign. Invest in Growth also delivered significant intangible value aligned with ACEC's strategic plan. It strengthened our public reputation, supported member engagement, and elevated consulting engineers as trusted messengers on public policy. Notably, several of the campaign's recommendations, including infrastructure planning, national corridors, and procurement reform, were echoed in the platforms of many of the political parties. This alignment shows that the campaign contributed to shaping the perspective and commitments of the next Canadian government. The bilingual website provides a reusable framework for future campaigns, and the letter writing interface remains active and will be adapted for future elections and policy campaigns. Beyond the federal election, the site is being retasked as a strategic outreach tool. We're adding updated content and re-editing videos to ensure it has continued relevance, allowing us to use the platform for ongoing advocacy and engagement with newly elected and returning members of Parliament from all parties. Why does Invest in Growth matter? It's a unique initiative that merges member empowerment, political advocacy, and audience analytics in a single ecosystem. Members were not just recipients of the campaign, they were amplifiers, actors, and advocates. Campaign messages were not just viewed, they were shared by the audience. This digital-first model is, in our opinion, a template of how associations can modernize engagement while maintaining authenticity and strategic focus. The campaign model is scalable, replicable, and adaptable. It proves that the right tools, messaging, and collaboration, a member association like yours can shape policy discourse and empower members to act. By combining advocacy with professional storytelling, the campaign elevated our sector's image with political audiences, clients, and the public beyond the election. It strengthened internal sector cohesion while enhancing external influence by demonstrating the societal impact of consulting engineers. The campaign helped reframe the industry as a central actor in Canada's future, socially, economically, and environmentally. Thank you so much on behalf of ACEC, and thank you to FIDIC for providing us the opportunity to share our Invest in Growth campaign. And again, I welcome your questions and comments during the Q&A, and I squeaked in with 10 seconds left.
Well done, Martine, and thank you so much for sharing that campaign. I was so inspired by your campaign when I saw it on LinkedIn. You infiltrated New Zealand even with your outreach. So I knew we had to come and have you speak today. Your work has already inspired us in New Zealand to change the way we communicate about the advocacy work that we're doing and our key messages. So I can tell you I was probably at least 5 of those 10,000 hits to your website, if not more. So thank you so much for sharing that. And last but certainly not least, I'll hand over to Rajiv. So Rajiv, looking forward to hearing about your initiative too. Thank you.
Yeah. First of all, I'll thank you because you motivated me to give this presentation. And apart from this, I would like to thank Dr. Ajay Pradhan and Dr. Samarjit Chatterjee, who are very senior members, and their editorial team who had put a lot of efforts to accomplish this compendium. Next slide. Actually, the India Prime Minister announced that they are going to celebrate the anniversary, 75 anniversary. So then we also decided, our President Ajay Pradhan decided to make a compendium so that we show there what really we have contributed as a consulting engineer in transforming India, and even apprise about the future potential what we have. So there where the initially idea was to make only 80 to 100 pages. It was basically we took as an opportunity to share the Indian engineers' social stories with senior bureaucrats, politicians, and even technocrats who did not know much about consulting engineers. They were very vague about the what exactly consulting engineers do. So next slide. The prime objective of the compendium was to show the progress that we did at initial stage. At the time of independence, we were basically, more involved in buildings and roads. And now we are basically embraced ports and harbors, thermal and hydro plants, and nuclear plants. We are doing it ourselves. Even ferrous and non-ferrous plants we are developing in India. So our intent was to show the pride to the engineering profession that what we are exactly doing and how much growth we have done over the 75 years. For that matter, very few people know that our consultants, engineers are basically now engaged directly with the multinational banks. These were the basically idea on which, our the objective of this. Next slide, please. So, I think you have missed one slide. Next slide. Okay. Maybe you have missed one slide, I think. Okay, no problem. So actually, initially the idea was that in sectors, what happened, there were a lot of enthusiasm was there in the people. Then we had to restrict our sectors. We only covered these sectors, what I have listed there. And still, apart from this, still we had to make, 100 pages, we have increased to 200 pages. Initially our idea was only to make 100 pages of that document, and we have finally landed up doing 208 pages. Next slide, please. Yeah. So timeline for this effort was basically we kept it 4 months. Actually, in August 22, the Prime Minister announced we'll celebrate anniversary. So we decided in August month only that we'll make the similar thing in India also for compendium. So during this period, our real task was to deliver all the tasks, including initial interaction, to getting articles, reviewing internally and externally, and finally, and basically content also, we got it vetted by the peer engineers. Peer review was also done by our engineers. Next slide, please. So it required actually a lot of coordination between, internal and external professional. Internally, we at CEAI had to focus on member volunteers. Basically, we are a very limited staff, so we have to have additional members so that we can work on this. Then externally, we depended on the clients and professional engineers, which were crucial for us. While coordination really it helped us that the it strengthened basically our membership, and membership members came closer. And really we felt that it has helped us even to member organization, to member as a association, that it has grown to quite a big extent. And next slide, please. Yeah. Actually, when we were making at the last stage of the compendium we are about to publish, we noticed that at the culmination of compendium, we could observe the boosted morale which the people had, either members and the even secretariat, who was participating in accomplishing this task. This was really phenomenal. Last 1 month, actually, we were missing the deadline. So we had to work a lot on this activity because a lot of articles were not peer reviewed at that moment. So a lot of efforts were done in the last month. And top of that, after when got completed, we got phenomenal comments from various policymakers and institutions, which give a validation to our efforts. Next slide. Next. Yeah, actually, we covered very limited sector, but our intent was to show how mature we have become during from the independence period until now. What was the role initially, and what we went through, and how we grow during this period. And it really showed the ownership of the widening of horizon. People were ready to take responsibility at that time, and really we growed in this sector. Indirectly, I will say that the benefit to CEAI and to FIDIC, it happened that more people know us in the engineering fraternity, which can be seen by, lot of activities are happening now in CEAI also. Earlier, our activities were there, not to that extent. Next slide, please. Why it mattered? Basically, we wanted to produce a quality product, so that they know, actually the new freshers or youngsters, they know that what exactly is being done, what innovations we have done during this 75 years. This approach aimed to benefit engineers and policymakers, academicians, and really a lot of things have been written in the document on each sector, which is really worth reading. And people have appreciated this document a lot. Next slide, please. Yeah, in innovation, basically, if you remember that we were earlier at the stage of board, we used to make small drawings, and now the things have changed to, 3D, and a lot of things are happening. And again, now so much AI has come into the picture. So editorial board thought that it is very important to apprise both the new generation and even the experienced practitioners with the updated technologies and trends. This will allow them to leverage these advancement to optimize their work and create new design with the minimum effort. That's what basically one of the, the topic we have covered there. Next slide. Yeah. Here I want to highlight some of the benefits which, the industry got. The experienced professionals who have done so much work and exchanged their insights and even shared their growth and their expertise. Our endeavor facilitated connections and partnerships with the industry, and a lot of interaction, and a lot of people have now, interacting because of the compendium also. And this endeavor also strive to be a driving force in improving and doing the innovative engineering technologies. Next slide, please. And if you see the last outcome, basically, I will say that after COVID, our membership really went down. But after 22, when the compendium was made, we had a lot of interactions with you can say that we are maintained a flat curve throughout. And despite a lot of organizations have closed during the COVID period. And top of that, I'll say that we are pleased to inform you and all of you that CEAI has been recognized by the policymakers, and they have invited us to become a committee member to develop engineering bill Engineering bill is basically, we don't have a structured engineering fraternity, like, licensed are not there. So in that committee, in this year, we have been introduced as one of the member. So that engineering bill we have, it has been prepared, and it is under process. It may see the light maybe in 1 or 2 years. I thank you. This is the last slide.
Wonderful. Thanks, Rajiv. And one thing I love about that initiative is also the opportunity that the compendium provides to inspire career changes or young people into careers in consulting engineering, and they can see what amazing work can be done. So thank you to all of our 3 presenters, Martine, Rajiv, and Liv. I've picked up a couple of themes that I just want to share. And one of them is really around that, going back to the point you made at the beginning, Liv, and I did pick up around mobilizing your allies. Each of your works that you've done is about bringing people together to achieve great things. And using your volunteers. And you made a really lovely comment, Martine, in yours around your members not just being the recipients of the Invest in Growth campaign, but also activators and amplifiers. And I think that's such an important message when we're thinking about how we do effective advocacy as associations. And the other point I picked up was with advocacy, it can sometimes be really hard to measure the impact of your work. It's quite intangible, some of the things we're dealing with, but to see across all of your initiatives where you've been able to point to change, whether it's being invited to decision-making tables, the engineers bill, or the debates that you've been in Liv, or seeing your policy positions pulled through into the manifestos of the different political parties. I mean, that's that tangible result from a lot of work, and that's magic. So well done to all of you. Congratulations on that. We have got time for questions. So I haven't seen any come through from the chat, but please do now take that moment to type your questions into the chat, and we'll feed those through to each of our speakers. In the meantime, I've got one for you, Liv, coming back to the very beginning, if that's okay. You made a really good point in your presentation that if you don't have the facts, you need to produce them. And you shared with us the State of Nation report. So I'm wondering if you can tell us a little bit around how you did that. Was it a survey to members? Did you interview people? How do you gather the data for that report?
Yeah,
Oh, you're on mute, Liv.
Yeah, sorry. We actually invited all our members to be part of this work, but it was only the big 6 firms that actually had the resources to join in. And we asked them to send the CV and so on. So they actually competed on actually doing this work, but we also paid them a little bit because we know they have their projects. So they actually did this, and they did it with a dialogue with clients, but also only information that was out in public. So they went to the road department and different parties and just looked at what they had, and then they have and then we just went through and made a decision. One thing was very important was that we didn't want any discussion on the facts. So then we also went to the university to actually qualify our results, so that we didn't have anybody saying, oh, you have too high numbers, it's not the right level or whatever. But so we actually wanted to have our facts really we would more have the discussion on the solution than the facts. So that's how we did it. We invited, and it took like 9 months to do that project, through that report. And to keep it alive, we only don't have the report, but we actually also have the website. So it's so everybody can go in there and look at it. So I could put that. I'm not sure if it. I should have put it on my on the screen here, but you can also go in there and get all the guidance, and then we can update it. It comes more information, or people can send in picture or whatever, so they can engage with the reports. It's not only a dead report, but actually something that you can adjust.
Wonderful. Oh, that's great. Thank you for sharing how you did that. I think there's so many different ways we can gather data. We in New Zealand have been running we're in a period of a slowdown of work at the moment, so we want the government to know how the sector has been impacted. So we are doing quarterly surveys to our members. They're short, they're sharp. They tell us how you're feeling. Are you experiencing a slowdown? Are you losing people? And that just gives us a little bit of data to go to government with too, which is a quicker way, but also that way of getting that data that really helps decision makers.
If I could add to that, Helen, you know, here at ACEC Canada, we've also done research into the impact that our industry has on the economy of Canada, and to showcase to politicians how important our sector is, not just in helping build, but also in helping feed the economy, how much taxes our member firms, how many Canadians they employ, etc. Because that also tells a story of how important our industry is to the fabric of the communities in our countries.
Important.
That's a really excellent point. Yeah, thank you, Martine, for adding that. And while I have you on the mic, I have a question for you.
Yes.
One thing you mentioned with your website is the ability to scale it and to, I guess, pick it up and use it in different spaces. So I'm wondering what your tips would be to help other member associations who might be thinking about doing a similar initiative.
Sure. I would say that, you know, ensuring that your messaging is clear and that it is on point to what you have been doing as an organization. You want to ensure that the messaging that you're putting out into the public domain remains consistent, and that there isn't too many messages. Like, you want, you know, 3-4 key points that are being reinforced with all of the activities that you're doing, and ensuring that your website remains current, and that oh, sorry, I'm just reading a message that we're receiving from Bradley Saul at ACEC US. Yeah, so that the website is current and that the messaging is clear, and that it aligns with what you have been speaking to in your advocacy work with your clients, or with the client groups, with the governments, and with other stakeholder organizations. I'm just going to quickly go back to Bradley's question. Can you talk more about the strong provincial organizations and getting input prior to the campaign to give them a sense of involvement? So in Canada, we have associations in each province. There are 10 provinces in Canada and 3 territories, and we are very closely allied with those organizations. So while they are standalone entities with their own boards, their own bylaws, etc., they are technically, we're a federated organization in Canada, so they are a member of our association, and we collaborate very closely with them. We have quarterly calls. So they also helped kind of feed the messaging, so that we had a sense. Canada is a very vast country. We have, you know, 4 different time zones. It takes as long to fly from Ottawa to the west coast of Canada as it does to fly to Europe. So we wanted to ensure that, you know, what we were presenting in our campaign aligned with all of the regions of Canada, so that all of the political candidates could feel like that the campaign was resonating with them.
Excellent. Thank you, Martine. I'm going to ask Rajiv a question now. This question is really about how you mobilized your volunteers. So, you know, massive amount of work involved in the compendium. You must have had to organize and liaise with a lot of different members to pull that together. How did you manage that? And what are some learnings you can share about how to work with volunteers in big projects like this?
Yeah, initially we were only approximately 4 to 5 people were there. In the editorial, there are 4 people were there and myself. And we have identified at least, maybe around 300 or 200 people to whom we can seek the articles. And we divided all this work to, amongst ourselves. And really, when we saw the enthusiasm, within 15 days, we got a lot of responses. So, and it appeared that, it will become a very big volume. So, and we had to cut a sorry figure to few people saying that we cannot include your the title on this. Maybe you are covering the limited sector. And it was really, but they are still connected with us now. And somehow they want to, they want similar book, this thing, they can show their experiences, they want to share with all other members. But that was a fantastic experience which we had at that time. Apart from this, when they wrote the articles, we were, sometimes we are not expert on each subject. So we wanted, somebody else should review that article so that we can, before sharing with everyone. This was one of the things which we made them to agree that it should be done, because this will be not a national document. It is going to go to the international level, which we had shared with all the member associate at that time when it was released. I think that's all I can say about it.
Wonderful, wonderful. I have a question now for you, Liv. Back to you.
Okay.
Give you some warning. So you mentioned the importance of highlighting the consequences for society of failing infrastructure and a lack of investment. Can you share with us how politicians reacted when you pointed these things out, and maybe things that they didn't really want to hear?
Oh, I think they're in this, well, I think they felt, I mean, they see it, but it is the link that is important to actually to understand it. And then, of course, politicians are also in a squeeze. Actually, the nature of politics is not doing anything, because then nobody will complain. So the thing is that the change is that they have to make sure that if it's a voice of the people, that actually people feeling that, and they feel that this is important to everybody, that the train never comes in time and so on. If they feel like that is a challenge, they will do something, because then they feel the public's need. So actually we just pinpointed into those things that they actually know that the people are feeling. They're scared of slides or things that can happen with the roads because of climate change. They're afraid of not getting time to pick up their children in kindergarten or in school and so on. So they can feel it in themselves. So I guess that's what we just pinking our finger into it and actually showcasing it. It didn't. I think that it's easier than numbers. So I don't know. I think that made them understand it better. Yeah, that's how I can describe the reaction. And I think that they are actually looking for solutions, because they need to actually find how to actually manage that, because it will cost a lot to upgrade things. And so that is how we showcase is that there are some things we can use AI, we can use our knowledge to think smarter, more innovative. But we also have to, the thing is that the engineering see things okay, we work in silos, but we see also things broader. And what is the challenge with politics today is that you have politics only on infrastructure, and then you have politics on hospitals and so on. but they don't see how actually they can collaborate, because somehow, at least when it comes to railroads, water, energy, and these things are linked together. And municipalities need to collaborate. Different division in the infrastructure division need to collaborate. So if you build a road, maybe you should also do something with the railroads when you're already in that area. So that is take down the barriers between sectors, municipality, regions, and actually see a thing as a whole.
Thanks, Liv. And I feel like Martine, you are.
Well, I was gonna say, Liv, I think you're right. Like it's hard to deliver tough news to politicians, but I think if we as associations really showcase how our industry can help solve those issues and come up with the solutions that they need. Often people don't understand what the consulting engineering sector does and its broader impact. And if we can showcase with them, hey, this is how our industry can help support you. And Liv, you mentioned something during your presentation that I took note of. And it was how when you meet with politicians, it's not just about speaking about yourself, but asking the question, how can we help you? And I think it ties into that, right? How can we help you? And here's how our sector can help you achieve what you're trying to achieve. And we have also found that having our members participate in delivering that message is such a strong and powerful way to get that message across, because when politicians hear from people in their own constituents, their own electorate, about the impact that they have in their communities, it makes the message is so much stronger than when we deliver it as association executives. So we always try again to involve our members, because it creates member engagement for the association, but it also helps strengthen your advocacy message.
Good point.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with that too. I mean, if you can build up the reputation as the problem solver, and not the person who's banging the table with demands, you'll be welcomed into those spaces so much more. And we've definitely seen the benefits of that as well. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Martine, your election was called at very short notice.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. So how were you, and what you delivered, very impressive. How were you able to mobilize and energize yourself and your members to take part in the campaign in such short notice? Has it had additional benefits around strengthening your relationships with your members as well?
I would say, yeah. So we certainly knew there was a federal election coming, because it was meant to take place in October of this year. So we knew that there was an election coming, and we had already started preparing ourselves for that coming election. Of course, it was called much more quickly than we had anticipated. I mentioned in our presentation that the messaging we used in the Invest in Growth campaign was really built around the advocacy messaging we've been doing for the past 4 years. So we already had our key messaging developed. We knew what we wanted to share, what we wanted to put out into the public domain. It became a question of preparing the content quickly. Thankfully, we were able to work with a team that was able to support us around that activity. And it also was about just, constant messaging to our members through our newsletter, through our website. And we also host a yearly advocacy activity with our members where we call it Parliament Hill Day, because our government is called Parliament Hill. And so we actually set up meetings for our members to meet one-on-one with elected officials. So we already have our members engaged in that advocacy activity, and we had been building on that for the past 4 years. So that also helped us continue that engagement and have them involved in our Invest in Growth campaign.
Fantastic. And yes, when I saw your website, it really triggered to me that here in ACE New Zealand, we don't tell the story of our advocacy very well to our members. So that's a learning we've taken away from what you've done. How do we have a better page or presence on our website around what our key messages are proactively, who we're talking to, what we're talking about, in a much more centralized place. So
Great.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. One last question for you, Rajiv, and then we will wind up unless any more burning questions come through the chat. But Rajiv, you spoke about the need to engender pride in consulting engineering and the impact that firms make. I'm interested to know how important it is raising the profile of what CEAI does to key stakeholders, and how do your members react when you do that successfully?
I didn't get your question. Could you please repeat it again? What exactly you want
Yeah.
to know? See,
How important? Yeah,
yeah, please.
sorry. Yeah,
Yeah.
how important is raising the profile of what your association does to your key stakeholders
To our members.
and then to your members? Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, our basically what we do is in advocacy, as Martina was telling, we generally lot of our consultants are facing a lot of problems with in the contract document which are being prepared by the clients. Our client government, most of the sectors are still FIDIC contracts are fine, but other contracts are still one-sided. So there where our all members give their issues, and we basically make a common questionnaire for our um, uh, client, so that we raise those issues then, and we try to resolve those issues which are in a balanced form. So, but still, even I say that in FIDIC contracts also, whoever half of the clients are following, they are writing only GCC. They are, for the sake of it, they are writing. In PCC, a lot of again is not balanced. It is more towards I will say towards the client side. So there where we pitch in, and our members do appreciate the effort which is being done by the CI. So that's why we get a lot of questions to us, and we try to interact with our government and try to resolve those issues.
Mm, great, thank you. Okay, it is now getting close to time when we need to close off this webinar. I want to offer our sincere thanks to Liv, Martine and Rajiv for sharing their experiences and initiatives today. This has been a wonderfully informative webinar, and I want to congratulate you all for your work providing a strong voice for the consulting engineering sector in your countries and contributing globally through this session today.
Thank
The
you.
DNSAC is committed to sharing knowledge and best practice across FIDIC's member associations so that we are lifting our collective capabilities for a globally awesome consulting engineering sector. So today's webinar was a really important part of this work. But before we sign off, I just want to share two more initiatives that we're working on for you to get involved with. So the first is that the Advisory Council, the DNSAC, is preparing a toolkit of guidance and resources to uplift the capability of all FIDIC's member associations. So this toolkit will help countries that don't have a member association to effectively establish one, and it will also support established member associations to grow enduring resilience and sustainability. It'll cover topics from developing your member value proposition, to governance, to drafting your constitution, to membership fee models, sponsorship strategy, harnessing AI, and getting the best out of your volunteers. Those are just some of the topics that we're covering. So it's all about sharing knowledge and best practice so that together we're building a stronger global engineering and consulting sector, no matter where we are starting from. So the toolkit will have 3 different modules covering around 7 to 9 topic areas each. So we're looking at over sort of 20 different guidance notes. And we're soon going to be sharing with you the draft, the first 6 draft guidance notes to get your feedback on, because we want to make sure that we are on the right track. So the topic areas we'll be sharing with you are effective advocacy, leveraging and managing volunteers, developing an effective sponsorship program, setting your association's objectives and purpose, setting your member value proposition, and also establishing your member association governance framework. So keep an eye out for that email. I'm sharing these resources for your feedback, and please do take a look and let us know what you think, and share examples that we can build in as well, as we bring this piece of work to life. The second piece we're working on is, again, we're delighted to be hosting a forum for all FIDIC's member associations on Saturday, the 20th of September in Cape Town, ahead of FIDIC's Global Infrastructure Conference. So this year's program will build on the success of last year, but also taking into account some of the feedback you gave us last year. So in the morning session, we're going to focus on association leadership and knowledge sharing. So if you've been working on a great initiative like Liv or Martine or Rajiv here that you want to share during that session, please let us know. In the afternoon, we'll have a dedicated session with FIDIC's leadership, focusing on how member associations can leverage FIDIC's global platform to enhance our influence, expand our networks, and deliver greater value to our members locally and internationally. So this will include addresses from our President, Catherine, and new CE, Susanna, as well as a facilitated panel with both Catherine and Susanna, and we hope our President-elect Alfredo as well. And then this will be followed by an evening of networking for FIDIC's member associations. So you can register for this event through the GIC conference website. It's going to be a really great day, and I hope that we can see you there. So this concludes our webinar for today. We hope you learned something new and you're feeling inspired. I certainly do. And I'm looking forward to putting some of these new tips that I've written down into practice. So with that, take care. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day, whether you're in the morning or the evening or the middle of the day, and I hope that we get to see you soon. Thank you again to our presenters. Ka kite, goodbye.